Folks, joining me tonight, TV and radio host, my pal Michael Billy. He knows a thing or two about being bullied after he was assaulted when he was in high school. We also have Shannon Flounnory, a principal at Stonewall Elementary School, joining me here in studio. All right, Michael, let me start with you. And this is a case, Michael, where the school was on notice. They knew what was happening, yet this child was still in danger, and mom took the extreme step of getting her son a stun gun.
Put it down, put it in my pouch.
What do you think?
Is it extreme? Is it extreme, Vinny? Because I am not ignoring the news that happens monthly, weekly, and stories that are unreported. For there to be a school principal to expel or to suspend this child and to have him arrested is to be ignorant to the daily happenings of gay kids, GLBTI kids all over the country. I am so fed up with teachers and principals claiming if you're going to act flamboyant, kids will be kids. We would be singing a different tune if this was a white school and a black kid who got beaten up for wearing sweatshirts or black clothing. This is ridiculous. I'm tired of it, and ignorance is a zero-tolerance policy, especially when it's our educators and principals.
You know, and here's what I think. You know, anytime someone's being bullied, you know, a parent, you go to the school and the school's on notice, the school has an obligation at that point, don't they?
You're absolutely right, Vinny. They do have an obligation, and whether it's bullying just because you're short, you're tall, or in this case, the perception is you're being bullied because of your perceived sexual orientation, yes, you do have an obligation. But on the other hand, I want to share this with you. I agree with Michael 100%. The school dropped the ball. However, the truth of the matter is, if the mom was not getting the satisfaction she needed from the school, there are normally steps that are in place to resolve certain conflicts.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because that's the part of this conversation I really want to get to, which is not having to send your child to school with a stun gun. Now, you know, not all parents know what they should do. What would you suggest to a parent whose child is being bullied for whatever reason, right, and you don't feel like the school is doing enough to protect your child and keep your child safe?
Right. Well, then at this particular point, we normally move it beyond the local school. In other words, local school leaders have supervisors in many cases that may consist.
Got to go over their heads.
That's absolutely right. The same thing if you go to Sears and you're not happy with the manager, you're going to communicate with the district manager. Now, in terms of mom buying the stun gun from the child, she made the wrong decision, and let me tell you why. To say that I'm going to allow you to violate the law because you're having bullies and I'm not getting the satisfaction, the school district cannot put itself in a situation such that it will allow that. To allow that based upon that will set a precedence. Now what's going to happen is that the student is not only going to be brought up for violating the district policy, but they're also, it runs the likelihood of the student being charged with as a criminal. Because you violate the school policy and you have criminal charges.
So he's being victimized by the bullies, right? And now he becomes the one that has the record. He becomes the one that's got to do. So Michael, I understand your point 100%, Michael. But what do we do now? Let's get to this point, right? You're being bullied, the school is on notice, and you're not getting the protection that you need. Your child is not safe. The school is not doing enough. Do we put an obligation on our parents to go over the head of the principal, go to the school board, go to the superintendent, hire a lawyer, do something? To me, that's the more appropriate step, but I understand the thought of the fear of being surrounded by a gang of six. You've been there.
Oh, absolutely. And we also have to remember that school just doesn't end with 2:33 p.m. during the week. These kids have access to other kids on the way home, on the way to school. So the idea of wanting to defend yourself, I completely understand. Now, let's get to it. What do parents do, okay? Your kid's being bullied every single day. I think the media has a huge hand in this. The media can help immensely with calling out principals and teachers who utter the words of, your kid is to this or that, it's to be expected. I think that there's definitely a partnership. We're outraged on this on the national level. We're talking about it here on this show. And there are several examples of this, I'm sure, that are going on in other parts of the country right now to different levels. And we need to get involved, be aware of this, talk about it, talk to the media, go above and beyond your principal, and work your way up through your school administrators and or political office in your town.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, because the bullies are, you know what, they're on the run right now. I mean, you've got to make enough noise out there, though. And I understand sometimes you're not going to get it at the first level. So make that noise, parents. Make that noise, but keep your child safe. Take a listen here. This, again, is Dynasty Grimes. He's the student who's expelled for bringing the stun gun to protect himself.
The reason why I brought the stun gun because I wasn't safe. If I was at your school and I was safe, I didn't have to bring anything because I would be safe. The only thing that makes me upset was that I got kicked out of school for me to bring the weapon to school. But I honestly don't think that was fair because the 6 bullies that was coming up to me, all I did was raise it in the air. And I didn't use it on nobody. I want to make that clear. I did not use it on nobody. All I did was raise it up in the air and went back to my class.
Now, from the school's perspective, I understand 100%, Shannon. You know, we can't give the stamp of approval to bringing this in. But does this school, you think, at this point have an obligation to investigate the bullies as well at this point?
Well, of course they do. They have an obligation to investigate the bullies. However, the truth of the matter is the student who has been victimized, we're going to emphatically reject the argument that he has a justifiable cause to bring the weapon to school. Yes, let's investigate the bullies, but let's also talk about some issues of teaching of tolerance, because there are many people who we may feel that are different than we are. But what some of the comments that I've heard really represent is where the mindset is of many people who have not accepted that different is not always bad, that it's just different. We need to spend a lot of time in teaching tolerance as well. But we have to investigate the bullies. We have to make sure that we have provisions that are in place that are going to be able to create and cultivate an environment in which everyone can be free to engage in their learning without fear of retribution from who they are or who people may think they are.
We've got a lot more to talk about here. Again, I understand what the mom did. She wants to keep her son safe. Obviously, you know, Monday morning quarterback, it was the wrong choice, right? There's another way to go. Let's talk about that. And let's also talk about if someone who's being bullied because they're gay is treated differently than someone who's being bullied for some other reason. You're watching Prime News. Keep it right here, folks.